It's funny, we talked about this morning at a commission meeting, we were speaking in regards to the Latino market. Our CFO and our air service development person was down in Bogota.
Oh, I'm Colombian. That's it.
But the point that they made was the contrast to the Hispanic market in Richmond is larger than other communities. He mentioned Baltimore and another city, but it was more Central and South American Hispanic. And if you're trying to get, I wasn't aware of that. I knew doing our census review of Spanish-speaking individuals, we have that obviously is our second language in terms of users at the airport, and and primarily the census report, the numbers of Spanish-speaking residents are more on the south side. But I wasn't aware of the origin, whether they are first-timers or family, whatever, but being Central and South American.
Correct.
And what we have to figure out is how we either message or format the message as we get into the process of looking at international traffic. Because our international inspection, our federal inspection station, we're coming in, if you have to be cleared through customs.
Right.
We are finally refurbishing it and getting it ready for operation later this year, so we can go to the airlines and say, hey, we have the capability to do uncleared airline travel, so look at us as an option. As you're looking at the East Coast, there's a lot of cities that would qualify for international service or want international service.
Right.
But it was, okay, how do we take traffic from Central and South America and then showcase that to airlines that are in those areas? Is there a demand to go to and from Richmond to markets or destinations in Central or South America?
Right.
Don't know it yet. I don't know all the details, but we got folks that are looking at that. But it was that little caveat as far as, because I just was being naive to, okay, it's Latin America. Well, let's be more specific.
Correct.
And then how you target marketing, how you target air service, and where you want to go, is just be more aware of.
Right.
And how you outreach to those communities and airlines that serve those communities. Because everything you always hear about, okay, it's going from Richmond to a destination for either leisure travel, right? But you don't always think about it in terms of how to get back.
Right.
And then is it enough to where it's back and forth?
Right.
Is it just that
families,
or is it weekly service?
Right.
Can you argue a case to the airline and say, hey, there's enough demand here to go back and forth?
Right.
Because that's what the airline's thinking about.
Right.
How do I make a business out of this? Two ways.
Gotcha.
And sometimes we're thinking about things just leisure destination. I want to go to a leisure destination, but the airline's got to go. I got to fill that plane.
Right. Exactly.
And if you're talking about international traffic, some of the markets we have, like the Cancun, is pre-cleared. Okay. So you don't have to worry about customs involved. Gotcha. It could be any. But when you're talking about having uncleared, they've got to be processed through customs office. You have to have a facility to do all that, and we're getting our act back together again to have a refurbished, active, accepted by customs facility. That's a key thing. We had one, but through lack of use and time, all of a sudden it's obsolete. Well, we've never used it, and now we return it back on again with money we received from the federal government. So that process is slowly coming together. So we hope by the fall. But it just was while he's getting everything ready. It was an important little nugget. Yeah. I thought it would be interesting because I didn't realize that specificity or that segment of the population, then how we develop a plan to outreach. And so talking to people like you who will outreach into the Latino market, helping us better understand, well, if you're going to focus on this population or this location, what makes more sense? Yeah. Is your message, that's not going to work.
Right.
Well, that's not that. Right. They may speak Spanish, but
that doesn't mean
that what you're saying is going to resonate with anybody.
Yeah, there's a lot of Guatemalans here, a lot.
Really?
There's a lot of Salvadorians here, Central America. Yeah. There's a lot of Venezuelans here, South America. Yeah. A lot of Colombians here, South America. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I actually moved here from Arizona, and Arizona was all Mexican. So coming from here, I see the huge difference. I mean, I'm originally from Jersey, so there's a whole different Hispanic market.
Well, that
yeah.
Again, from
So I
Jersey.
got a little bit of everything.
That's why I call her Jersey. Are we ready to get into a radio show?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
it's my
I'm
fault.
good. I
My
don't
fault.
have, see, because my son came, I'm good. See, I don't need help now. Look at me, all grown up.
In a world where quality business information is needed, we bring you On the Mic with Mike, the leading social enterprise business show in RVA. Join Mike King, the partnership guru, as he delivers game changers in Metro RVA. On the Mic with Mike showcases how business can help make society better. He discusses tech, culture, innovation, best business practices, and highlighting area nonprofits. Join Mike Monday through Friday, because it is the place where the best and brightest come to chat.
Mike King Biz, On the Mic with Mike, Richmond's premier business radio platform.
Judge it how you judge it, say we going corporate. Nah, we just corner boys with the corner office. I'm at the cap table, what the splits is. Not that cap table, boy, we live this.
Promoting how business can make the community better. No one does it better than Mike King Biz. On the Mic with Mike. Check it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike. Mike King here. This is part of the Mike King Biz Media Network, ESPN Richmond 106.1, International Business Coach Radio, as well as the Hounds of Business community. What we do is we talk to the best and the brightest. You can follow me on social platforms, which is On the Mic with Mike, RVA, as well as Mike King Biz. So we're coming to you from the Mike King Biz studio. Now, we bring you the best and the brightest. We're always talking to Jack Barry. He's always talking about tourism and all these things. Okay, we talked to Brian Anderson and Karen Webb from the Chambers. That Richmond, the RVA, is a hotbed of activities. Well, one of the ways that people get to us is by airplane. Okay, yes, there is an airport here. Yes, and what do? We got the folks from the airport coming out here talking about all the great things. It is Richmond International Airport, correct?
That's correct.
That is correct. All right, sir, so I invited you guys here today. You made it on camera. Your compadre is on the other side. They didn't know how this works, ladies and gentlemen. They did not. They thought they were just coming here to talk. No, it don't work like that. We were coming here today to talk about the great things happening at the airport. So tell folks who you are and what you do.
Hello, I'm Russ RIC, and I'm the Director of Properties and Concessions for the Richmond International
Let
Airport.
me ask you, now, you're proudly wearing your Marine Corps. Why would they put a Marine in charge of things that has to do with processes and order? Maybe because you guys know a thing about order.
Well, it was my lucky day to wear my lanyard that has the Marine Corps on it, so
Shout out to the
proud
Corps.
of my time.
Shout out to the Corps Semper Fi out there for all my brothers and sisters out there from the Corps. Alrighty, so tell us, that's a big title, tell us what you do over at the airport.
Well, I've been fortunate to have been working at the airport for 26 years, managing and directing the airport's property and concession activities. So what that means is all the business contracts for the airport. If you're the airline or a rental car, if you're the food and beverage program or the gift and news or the taxis or even the shoe shine stand, I'm behind all that.
One of the things that we talked to Jack Barry, shout out to my man Jack out there, and we talked about when he came back from COVID, we're shocked how quick the area bounced back after COVID. He said it bounced back in record time. We went through a thing where COVID happened, the world shut down. What has the airport learned and done different now that you didn't do before, but you realized that thing worked?
Well, one, the airport saw a huge decrease. There were days when there was no one
I
at
can
the
imagine,
airport.
yeah.
And so you can imagine from a property concession standpoint, you got to have people traveling to the airport to make a dollar.
Yes.
And it was at times where I would see the manager, who in the pre-COVID had a staff of maybe several hundred, would be just her, and she was a cook. And it would be her, and then have one other to provide service to what few travelers there were. Now, obviously, with the conditions improving, the travelers came back. What we learned was the travelers came back in a slightly different way. Where before you had distinct, heavy 60-40 business leisure traveler, well, that traveler came back in a slightly different condition, as what they learned was it's more of we'll call it the bleisure traveler, the business leisure traveler, somebody who's making the travel, but they're able to. So what they learned in COVID, to the remote worker, how they're set up to handle things from home, they're now taking that with them on the road. So their capability and comfortability with working from home. Now they're able to go to a resort destination or a travel destination and combine work and then be able to say, hey, work time is done, and now I'm going to be on my leisure time. So the family can come with them. So before it might have been the business person traveling solo, now it may be a family. So that bleisure, that business leisure traveler is now a little larger unit. And what that means also is that their buying habits are a little different now. Before, you've got a traveler on an expense account. So there were higher buys, more buys. Now you've got a little bit more sensitive to pricing because they're traveling with the family. So it's not all on the expense account. So that makes what they're buying a little different. Some of those patterns, some of those typical buys, they're now different. So the concessionaires are having to adjust to what would have been a little higher ticket, might be a little different. So, and what they're looking for, because they might have family in travel or in tow. So what they're looking for in terms of needs and expectations. And speaking of expectations, that obviously never changed. What they want is their in terms of sensitivity to price, sensitivity to services. And it's kind of funny, but when you go from no service and it's difficult to find travelers, and all of a sudden it comes people coming back, well, their expectations are as high as they were before, and their acceptance of trying to find workers. You don't have the service staff are not there because they were let go, and then bringing them back, that was a slow process to get everybody back, and we still are paying for that because of the just availability. The worker mindset, well, one, it's availability, but mindset. It's a different person came back. They wanted one getting them back. And what the salary increases, the offerings to incentivize someone to come back and work in this environment, even though it's clean and clear and functional and serviceable, there's still that bit of uncertainty as to am I really safe? Well, I think as time, it's now 2024, people feel a little bit differently about things, and I want to say it's getting back to normal, but it never will be the same normal, it's just a new normal. And as they understand that, it's still a challenge. I mean, I was in a meeting this morning, and there was still difficulty of getting police officers to fill the ranks, and so it's a challenge.
So when we had your leader out, I interviewed him a couple years back. People don't understand the size of the airport. That the airport is basically a city.
We are a small little city. We've got all the services you would expect in a small city. The only thing we can't do is we can't tax the population.
But you could if you would. If you could. Possibly.
We probably would.
We'd find a way. You know what we would do?
We call it a user fee. So
exactly.
If you're going to buy that sandwich, we get a percentage of that sale.
But there is something about being able to fly in and out of Richmond without going to D.C., without going to some other places.
You could have asked a better question.
You know what, ladies and gentlemen, I got one good question per show. That's teeing it up right there. Okay, so we're here talking about, you guys are looking for partners as well.
Absolutely. We're always looking for relationships.
So teed it up for you. What are we here to talk about?
Well, we are getting ready to, in my partner to my right, Rochelle.
Who is not on camera right now.
We are preparing several solicitations, requests for proposals for concessions, and that was some opportunities will be coming up. And I think we've got an opportunity on April 18th, if I'm not mistaken. Well, we'll be inviting the folks from the public to come on out to learn more about what's going on for concession opportunities. Everything from food and beverage opportunities in the concessions. We want to build a few more bars, coffee shops. We can never serve enough coffee, and and we know the lines are long, but we want to create more opportunities. So April 18th, we'll get the times available for you. Check our information.
And definitely sounds like something. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the room with me, you know I roll with my partners right here. So we got Joanna Smith in here. Let's Do It Right Events. She is events extraordinaire. We got Adriana Duarte. she's a mortgage loan officer, but she moonlights as a radio talk show host as well as Joanna too. And what she is Todo Latino is the radio program. And also in studio, my good friend Mindy Flanagan, who does, well, that's Mindy right there. So Mindy does HR, but she speaks fluent HR and English. She's bilingual. And a lot of times there's questions that we have, that I have, and business people have as to how to get things done, what can happen. And a lot of times people are kind of nervous about going with I'm the lead person right there, kind of skeptical of the HR process. So she helps us speak English. What we do here is we take the information that are out there. People have no clue what's going on at the airport. We ride up. There's two things we do at the airport. Ride up and drop people off like I did with my son the other day. It's pretty cool going out to the airport too as well. Shout out to my son, flew out on United. But he came from Atlanta. He did the craziness, tried to save some money, fly from Atlanta to D.C., get an Airbnb there to come to Richmond. You didn't learn that mathematics in the college that we sent you to. You went to D.C. to see somebody because there's not that much of a difference. So he left out of Richmond. So there's opportunities for all kinds of organizations out there to do business with the airport.
I believe there is, and we're looking for those. Right now, the big need is on the concession side. Like I said, on the April 18th event, come out and learn more about that. But we're also, it's a source of employment opportunities. You mentioned your HR colleague over here. We are always looking for folks, and you have to keep in mind that, as you described earlier, the airport is a city. It's not just the airport commission. That's who I work for, but that's who runs the airport. But the airport is made up of a lot of tenants. So as I mentioned, you've got the food and beverage. Well, that's a company. The rental cars, those are companies. You have the cargo operations. You have everything from Amazon, UPS, DHL, FedEx. You have something called fixed base operators. These are the companies that serve the general aviation market, the private owners. All these people need staff, and they go through, and their needs are ongoing. Everything from work to help put fuel in aircraft, to clean aircraft, to move aircraft, to cargo freight, stuff inside, whether it be secretarial, executive assistant type work, to accountants, you name it. Those fields, the demands are there, including security. I mean, I keep forgetting about the largest employer on the airfield is TSA. They have over 300 thereabouts staff. It's a big number, and they are the largest employer, and they have an ongoing need. I know they do their things through the federal government, but again, you've got all that from them down to our own local security forces. I mentioned our police department. It's a constant struggle to keep the staff. The airport's a little bit of a unique situation, so it's not your high volume calls. It's more of just maintaining the peace and good order in the space, in the terminal. And so we're always looking for those who are, maybe they might have retired, want to come back, and still you can retire at 50 working as a law enforcement officer, and then if the opportunity maybe to come back to the airport, to look at that as an option.
Alrighty, how can people get information out about what's going on at the airport?
The biggest one is go to our website, flyrichmond.com. And that has information as far as opportunities from the construction, the procurement. It has contact information in terms of HR. Everything there is just under. Also, we have our social media, which I have to admit I don't use it as much as I should.
Sorry, I can understand that. The days that they were teaching that social media class, I must have been absent because I got a new camera. And it keeps turning off. The camera's going, but the monitor. So my son, before he left, I'm like, you gotta school me on this camera. Now, I thought that I had all of it, but now as soon as it's over, we have to go and I gotta have a conversation. So I would guess that when it comes to certain social media things, you might have to look over to the right a little bit.
A bit. I know if you search the airport, Richmond International Airport, you can find our information on our social media.
So I talked to 3 or 4 people. What is it about going to aviation that people go and stay forever? You've been there 26 years. You went there, okay. Did you know that you were going there to stay I went to the Army and ended up staying forever, too. So I get it. What is it about a career in aviation or that opportunity that a person's there doesn't know what it could turn out to be?
We should play golf together because you have a great habit of teeing things up. And anyway, we are always looking for those, or to remind individuals or folks that the airport and the airport business, not just the airport that we run, but all facets of the airport, aviation, are always looking for new people. As you can tell, I'm not the newest kid on the block. And
shocking.
They have
we go together.
We're looking for new folks who want to look at the aviation as a career opportunity, and it's not just a pilot. Flying airplanes, that's a fancy, nice, glamorous job, but it's work. But there's also lots of other work, professional work, everything from the business side, on accounting, finance, HR. You have marketing. You have the food service side, the logistics side. All these things need people, and they need young people to get in here and do things. And so we certainly highly encourage, if you whatever field you may be interested in, there's an opportunity to do it in the aviation career. And it doesn't have to be Richmond, but it can be at an airport near you or where you want to go. And that's the nice thing about it, is that it's a very mobile career. So if you want to move on and go to someplace else, another destination, maybe you want to work for an airline, maybe you want to go to another country, maybe you want to go to another part of the United States. It's very flexible and very attractive. And so it's highly encouraged you. Obviously, I'm biased to Richmond.
Well, that is true.
Look at Richmond, and there's neat opportunities right here in your hometown.
So we both have been in the military. Shout out to Uncle Sam's military, and we had them as a travel agent.
Yes.
It's not exactly the most glamorous travel, but it allows you to get around the world, and the aviation industry does as well. You can go to other places and set up. So we'd like to thank you for coming on the program. So you guys are coming back again, and the named person, Rochelle, she's going to come back in the next time, and we're going to talk about... Yes, yes. We're going to talk about April 18th is when you guys are having the event out there. More details will come. We'll let you know. And it is the airport website again is
flyrichmond.com.
Doesn't get any easier than that. On the mic with Mike.
Hi, I'm Reba Hollingsworth with CBS 6, and I was on the mic with Mike and had a fabulous time. Make sure you tune in every week.
All right, so folks, you know the time is drawing short, and as they say in church, I'd be remiss. I'd like to say, make sure you take care of sponsors and advertisers, because this microphone ain't free, and my grandkids need stuff. And a lot of that stuff comes from Amazon, and it comes through the airport. I'm not sure... but the Amazon truck never keeps going. It makes a stop at my house all the time. So please support my sponsors and advertisers so I could continue to be here. And yes, this is a word from my grandkids.
Mike with Mike. From Michael Mike's. From the Michael Mike's. Michael Mike's. My name is Isabella, and you're listening to Mike King Biz. Hubby, that's my scam.
That's my granddaughter, Isabella. Folks, take care. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks now. Bye.